Alright, it's Amity once again. So today I'm, doing another art fight attack as I do. So I thought I would talk about, try to be on a topic for once, kind of. So there's been a lot of stuff going around. Not really a lot. Okay, I've seen 2 videos of people claiming that art fight is misogynist and all this stuff. So I am obviously quite new to art fight. This is just my first year. I also think people have a tendency to obviously like what I'm doing right now. I'm making a video because I saw someone else make a video about it. Blow things up, pretty much. My opinion thus far, I've seen one video where a girl did a statistics. She basically took a pool stuff and then pretty much just did research to figure out the statistics for it, how many characters, or she actually went really in depth to it. I don't know how easy it would be for me to find that video again. I wish I had saved it. But she went really into depth, talked about, like, are these characters fleshed out? Are they just there to be there? Like, are they just, kind of like a goonin kind of character, like a sexy character, something like that, are they like more than just a chick character or a dude character and blah blah. It's actually kind of interesting. Personally, I think you would have to do that kind of study like a few more times, or I forget what her how big of a pool she picked from, but I know it was pretty decent. I think it'd have to happen a few more times. The more you do a study, I think the better it is. I don't think that's always accurate, but but my personal opinion, from what I have seen this year when doing it, is like I don't really think art fight has misogyny. I don't think like drawing male characters or having more male characters inherently is that kind of issue. I know in my video right now I'm drawing a dude character. I actually, for the longest time couldn't draw guys, so I was trying to draw more dudes. Like for me personally, like it's just easier to draw girls. It is easier for me to draw a girl than to draw a guy. I've been trying the past year or two to draw more guys simply to, break out of that, because it's kind of hard to draw stuff if you can only draw a girl. It's harder for me to draw scenes or do this and that, and I don't know, playing like games with my friends, and most of them are kind of dudes. All their characters are for the most part guys, so I had to learn to draw guys because I like drawing things relevant to me that are going on, and a lot of their characters are dudes. So that's how I got that's how I draw Stretch and stuff like that, because that's my friend's character, or it's my boyfriend's character, and then my friend's character also a dude, yeah, blah blah blah. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think it makes you like bad or anything like that. Like maybe you can really only draw if you're a male. I think a lot of people aren't art fight in my opinion. I don't really have anything to back it up. I think the user base is probably a higher amount of girls, because that tends to be how it trends, it seems like, for these kind of things. So I actually think it's kind of interesting that it seems to be primarily male characters. In my running around bookmarking things, I don't really run into that problem too much. Now, granted, I am mainly bookmarking characters of the tags of D&D or like juggalos, because this is my interest at the moment to draw. I think there's less girls for the Juggalo one. Yeah, I would say there's a little bit less girl characters for that. But also in general, just there's more on the other team, and I'm mainly looking at stuff that's on the opposite team, and that there's more on my team, is what I meant to say. Like, there's a lot more girl characters too for that. For D&D, for the ones that I have personally bookmarked, I would say there's more female characters. I think it really just depends. And also, like she was saying, how she categorized it for, you know, different reasonings, and like that's all kind of opinion based too. Like there's a lot of characters that I've seen that like it's not like a mean thing or anything like that, but I like don't want to draw them. It has nothing to do with the character's gender. It's purely just like design choices most of the time, or lack of reference. There's been a few that I haven't drawn because it's like just a head, and you know they're a newer artist, and I've already drawn like 5 things or something. Like it'll be like a newer artist and their character looks almost identical to somebody I had already drawn. That was also a newer artist, so like, you know, less variety. So I like don't draw that one unless I'm doing a big mass attack. Then I'll put, since there's characters just a head, I put it in my giant mass attack because it's just a head. So you can't really get mad at me if I just draw your character as a head because I have no context for the rest of what the body looks like. Sometimes I'll like doing those ones and I'll, you know, go for it. I find a lot of the, like at least in the Juggalo one, a lot of the guy characters aren't as fleshed out that are drawn like that. Like I run into more like not as super, but also these are very specific categories that I like. They're like my interests, so it doesn't really go for the whole. I have no idea what like the more like furry arts and stuff, are there more guys or girls for that? I don't know. She looked into that a little bit, which was kind of cool. I don't know. I don't really think there necessarily needs to be like a change with that. Like on a community, if you want to draw more guy characters, draw more guy characters. If you want to draw more girl characters, draw more girls. Now, I would argue, just on a personal artist level, you should try to draw both. You know, it's just better for you to be able to draw multiple genders and stuff. It's also important to be able to draw different body types, which is something I struggle with, that I'm slowly trying to get into drawing. And also, there's like a little bit of fear there, I'll admit. I've drawn like a friend before where I drew them how they looked, and I know that sounds weird, but like it was just their face, and their face was more round because like they were like they were like a tiny bit overweight and stuff like that, so like their face is more naturally round anyway, and they didn't like it. They said I drew them fat, and I didn't. Like, I don't know how to, besides showing you, I don't know, like I did not draw them fat. And so that made me afraid of drawing people with, like, any kind of weight for a little bit. And I'm getting over that. Like I said, not the best way to describe it. I don't know the proper way to describe that situation. You know, so, yeah, it's just, like, for me, I have to, like, I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing with I used to have a harder time drawing, like, kind of more gender-neutral not characters, but, like, because I used to do a lot of portrait stuff, and I would, like, kind of research what they more wanted to present as, or if they wanted to truly be neutral, because just, like, how I drew it at the time, I would exaggerate, you know, like, based on what gender, and I kind of grew out of that. I think I can draw more gender-neutral stuff now. If I want to, you know. Sometimes I get confused looking at some people's profiles for a character because they're not specific enough, or they're too specific, and I get, like, sometimes I get confused. Like, I had one character I wanted to draw, and I was very unsure, and also wasn't sure if it mattered. Because to me, it doesn't, like, super matter. I don't mean that in a bad, like, it just doesn't, like, if you make my character look more, I don't know, like, I don't care to, like, I guess I would care if somebody took my character and fully turned it into, like, a dude or a chick if it was a guy character and they didn't, like, you know, ask or whatever, be like, I wouldn't really get upset about it, but that's not really for me. It's just not an issue for me personally. I don't know, I started rambling. But, yeah, there's one character I just wasn't sure, because they had no description, and they were very, so I just went with drawing it. I just was like, I'm thinking too much into this. I'm just gonna draw them gender neutral, because that's what they look like. You know, I'm just not gonna exaggerate certain features and make it just neutral. So that's something I gotta get better with, too. I need to draw the full range of everything, but that's difficult, you know? It's difficult when you just start out only drawing girls, and then, like, back when I first started drawing, people get really offended at, like, it. In my head, I was worried that people would get offended if, like, they didn't think I drew them pretty enough, or if I didn't do. I'm kind of hard on myself with a lot of stuff, so I don't know. I'm kind of rambling, and it probably sounds awful. I'm gonna post it anyway because it's just honesty. I don't know. Like, I just wanna. It's weird with I've seen some. Like, have you ever seen the cartoonists on like reels and stuff that draw people's like features super exaggerated where they look awful, but that's like what they're supposed to do? That makes me feel better because I'm just like, all right, you know, like people pay for that. Like, I don't think my art's bad, and I don't think I'm drawing people that bad. Hopefully, I don't know. I think it's just because I don't like when I draw myself realistically, I don't really like it. But when I draw myself as a cartoon, I'm good. I don't know where I'm going with any of this. The end of the video is just I don't really think Art Fight has a super misogynistic thing towards it. I think it really just depends on what people want to draw. Some people want to draw dudes more, some people want to draw girls more, some people want to draw like a neutral kind of thing, or just like a furry, or like feral animals. I don't know. If you want there to be more female characters or more male characters, then you should be the change. You should be the one doing that. You know, you can't force people to create something that they don't want to create, so you should create it. We're not talking about companies or anything here. We're talking about individual people making art. They can only do what their ability allows them to do and what they want to do. We can't control what they do. You can't really get mad at an artist for having less guys or less girl characters. They're not a company. They're doing this in their free time. That is my full opinion on that. Same goes for, like, different, like, races, body types, stuff like that. You can't really get mad at an individual artist, like, at least within Art Fight, alright? Like, within Art Fight itself. Because, like, most of them, hobbyists, most of us are hobbyists, and just doing stuff when we have time. I used to not be good at drawing other races either, and I have slowly forced myself to get better. That's not even forced, I always wanted to. It's just, like, way back when I first started drawing, I mainly just had pen and paper. I got my art supplies taken from me a lot as grounding, so I just had, like, a black pen half the time. And then when I did have colored pencils and stuff like that, they sucked, so hardly ever colored skin color. I know now that I probably could have, you can still draw other races with a black pen. But my art skill and my ability to look stuff up was very low in early high school, so I can't even get mad at myself for that, really. And I would hope if I was me back, like if I was here, but like in the past, I don't know how to explain that. I would hope people wouldn't get super pissed at me, in the current day, if that was my skill level and age, that I just, you know, didn't know how and didn't know what I was doing. But, you know, so those are my ramblings on this topic. If I said anything wrong, you know, let me know. I don't script this, and I just kind of ramble, and my head's all, like, kind of jumbled up and weird half the time. So, if I said anything bad, let me know, and I will address it and fix it, or give you my opinion on it, you know, whatever. But yeah, this has been Amity with a random, somewhat, kind of on a topic video for once. Oh my god, also that was my drawing, and I hoped you liked it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have the image go for like 3 minutes because I talked far longer than I meant to. But yeah, it's also probably why I should script these things, but we'll get better at it as time goes on. Probably, maybe, I don't know. Goodbye. Blah.